Hi guys, today I will show you how to design this awesome website snippet with utilization of Glassmorphism. My primary reason for it is that typically if you look for Glassmorphism tutorial examples, either here at YouTube or for inspiration at the Dribbble or Google, most of the time you will find how to design glass credit cards. Don't get me wrong, a glass credit card is a totally valid example, but Glassmorphism is much more than that. And it's also hard for you to stand out if everyone designs the same thing. Seriously, go and search for it at the Dribbble, for example. So many credit cards. In my future video, I will show you how and when it's best to use it. But for now, let's go back to the main topic and jump into Figma. I have prepared some of the stuff beforehand. Icons I will be using today came from flaticon.com and photos from Envanto Elements. If you don't have access to those services, you can use free alternatives. For icons, I recommend using the Figma community or plugins like Iconify. There are also a lot of websites that offer royalty-free photos, even for commercial use. Just go and search them at Google. Apart from that, I generated some color palettes and shades with Coolors.co. As for the font, I will be using Roboto from Google Fonts. Let's create a new frame. Since it's a website snippet, I will select a MacBook frame. I will change the background color to the light tone of gray from my palette, so the website container can stand out better. Now, what I like to do when designing a website is to create a 12-column layout grid, so it would be easier for me to arrange various components. It also helps with the future responsive or adaptive works around the design. I will be talking about it in one of my next videos, so stay tuned. So, 12-column layout with 96 pixels margins and 24 pixels gutters. I'm adding the website container, adjusting corners to 48 points, and changing color to white. After second thought, let's reduce the corners to 32 points. Next step is to add shadow behind the container. I'm setting Y distance to 8, opacity to 10%, and blur to 24 points. For the logo, I don't have anything fancy. I'm just using the font with a mix of previously prepared colors. Let me add some generic labels for the navigation. Although I'm designing it for presentation purposes, it's always a good idea to at least try to make it more believable. As I said previously, I'm using Roboto font with previously prepared colors. I will be avoiding using black, because most of the time it creates too much contrast and it's not that pleasant to read. Instead of black, I will be using a darker shade of gray for primary states and lighter tones for secondary one. After some position adjustments, it's time for icons. I'm just copy-pasting them from previously prepared source. I'm adjusting its size to 24 pixels and copy-pasting the secondary color from the palette. It's time for the hero header. I'm creating a box for it with a rectangle shape, and I will fill it with the photo instead of solid color. But before I do that, I have noticed that it would be actually better to create an inner 12-column layout inside the website container. As you noticed before, the constraints I created for MacBook Pro frame don't really correspond well with the insides of it. That will allow me to better align everything. With new margins set to 36 and 24 points for gutters, I will now drag and drop the frame to the container and use it as a guideline layer. Now I'm adjusting sizes and making placeholders for the cards. After that, I'm filling the header with the previously mentioned photo. Some more position and size adjustments. As you can see, we need something for the title to stand out better. Let's create a background box with alignment to the 12-column layout and rest of the elements. I'm also adding 32 points of corner radius. In order to create a glass effect, first I need to set the fill of the box to a linear gradient with light and dark tones with reduced opacities. Typical angle for the gradient is around 45 degrees. For the colors, I will be copy-pasting shades of gray I prepared before. I need to reduce the opacity, so for the first color I will go with the 80%, and for the second with 60. Next step is to add background blur behind our layer. I'm doing so by adding a background blur effect in the effects panel and setting it to 16 points. I'm also adding a 1 pixel white stroke set to the inside to create the effect of glass edge. I need to reduce its opacity so it won't stand out too much and create this nice edge. I think I need to add some additional adjustments to color. I will now speed up a bit so you won't get bored. You can always slow down the video if you are interested in that part. As you saw, I spent quite some time adjusting sizes and distances, so the title would look better. Now I want to create another glass component for the video play button. To do so, I will copy the style of the title box and paste it to the circle I just created. That way I will save some time and have consistency between those elements. I also forgot the play icon, so I'm using the Iconify plugin and material design library. Unfortunately, the icon I have is too pointy and doesn't really fit well to the style I'm going for. So I need to adjust the radius on icon shape corners. You can do it by double clicking on the shape or hitting enter. 2 points should be fine, and as you can see, it fits much better to the overall style. Now, as I said, I'm copying the style from the title background box to the play button layer. I think I need to decrease the opacity of the layer slightly. Yep, that looks better. Let's change the color of the play icon to white. Now I'm copying the icon background to create an edge around it. I'm doing so by enlarging the shape, disabling the fill of the layer and going only with stroke. I want to move to the bottom area now, but I'm still not sure about the header title area. I'm going to speed this up for a bit. As you can see, I adjusted sizes and distances between the elements. I have also added some details like a bar under the active page in the navigation. I decided to not cut this section out or to reshoot it, so you would be able to see that even designers with many years of experience are doing some things by trial and error. And to have a satisfactory results, sometimes you need a lot of tinkering. Let's move to the lower section. I will add a supplementary icon to the section title. I'm adjusting its size and color so it can fit perfectly into the box. Let's speed up for some further adjustments. Now let's move to the hardest part of this tutorial, which is the card. I have imagined a very nice effect of glass card with a photo piercing through the glass surface with some additional glass components. I will start by filling the card with the photo. Now I need to duplicate the card to create a window for the photo to pierce through. This will be the layer that I will use as a mask. Now I'm creating mask and grouping shapes together for convenience. As you can see, we need an additional set of layers to achieve this window effect. I need to blur out the underlying layer, but as you can see, the edges of the card are also blurred. To fix that, we need to create an additional copy of the shape and additional mask for it. I'm grouping the layers together and repeating the mask on them. As you can see, now we have two groups of layers, where one serves as a glass with the photo blurred out, and second as a window for that photo. As you can see, in this case I'm using solid color instead of gradient. Now I need to adjust the shape, distance and reduce the corner radius of the window so it can fit better. It's time for the title and further adjustments. Now I want to add glass peels with difficulty levels and an indicator of score or ranking for the item. I will be following the previously described method and simply copy the style from the top components. Let me add text to the peel. Idea is that we could have 3 levels, basic, advanced and master, so potentially we could have 3 peels like this on one card. Now I want to create dimension indicator of score ranking for the item. Again, I'm copy-pasting the layer style, but here I will also add background shadow to the layer with reduced blur, so the shadow will be sharper. Now it's time for the number and the icon. Now I'm copying the cards 3 times and adjusting their content. I'm adding a progress indicator to the header section of the website. It looks nice, but something still doesn't feel right. I think it's time for more adjustment and tinkering. And now you have it. As you can see, I have changed the entire header section and resigned from the glass effect behind the title. Sometimes it's just better to resign from an idea that just doesn't work. I'm very happy with the end result. I hope you will be able to replicate the effects I shared with you. As I said at the beginning, in the next video I will cover where and when Glassmorphism works best. I'm also sharing the Figma link in the description of this video. Thank you guys again, and we will see each other in the next video.